is The McGraw Show on KTRS.
All right, it's 7:50 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Some news, a couple of breaking news all over the place. July unemployment numbers, 162,000 jobs were added. That's a little less than they expected. However, the unemployment rate now falls to 7.4%. ABC News will have more of that top of the hour. Also, some breaking news with the school transfer program. Elisa Crouch and Jessica Bock have the front page. They have the wood in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch this morning. Jessica Bock joins us here on the phone. Good morning, Jessica Bock from STLtoday.com.
Good morning.
You wrote a great story this morning. We'll get to that story in a second. But what happened this morning with these computers?
Well, Don Senti and the CSP staff have been working through the night on this process, and they hoped to be doing these lotteries for the students who went to Kirkwood and Melville schools sometime early this morning, meeting with superintendents at about 8:30 this morning. Well, then a few hours ago, the whole computer that was doing this crashed, and they've been set back. So it's likely a delay of a couple hours. They're asking the superintendents to come out at noon now rather than 8:30. But, they're working diligently and trying to do their best.
So the fact that the computer crashed only puts pushes the whole thing back a couple of hours.
Right, yeah. And they also said, what I found interesting was that, some of these parents that were turned away yesterday from Riverview, they missed their 1 p.m. deadline. Some of them have been calling cooperating school districts, and they're going to work with them. They're going to try to find them a spot, too.
How many of those parents missed the deadline?
Well, when I was out there, it was actually, I looked at my phone. It was 12:54 when they shut the doors and turned the first woman away. It wasn't a large group, but it was definitely sporadic, people coming up. The problem was there was confusion all throughout this process. Monday through Thursday, hours have been from, sometime in the morning, then closing for lunch, and then from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. So some parents could have come in before 1, but they saw that it started at 1, and they waited to come up to 1, and they were just devastated. They had spent all morning running around trying to get paperwork they needed, and then to be turned away, it was really sad to watch.
So the deadline everybody thought was 3, or was it 3 and they switched it to 1?
Well, throughout the process, it had been. They've been taking applications till 3 p.m. on Thursdays.
Right.
On Wednesday, they decided to switch that till 1 p.m. And in Riverview Gardens' defense, they said, we're trying to work with this August 1st deadline and process all the information and get it to cooperating school districts. So, we felt that's what we needed to do. They also didn't shorten the hours that day. They normally shut down for lunch. They didn't shut down that day.
So it was a miscommunication. The parents thought they were doing it with plenty of time. The Riverview Gardens was trying to coordinate everything, so it was a miscommunication. But you're telling me now, because of this computer glitch, they're able to accommodate these parents, or they were going to try and do it regardless of this glitch?
I think they were going to try to do that anyhow. They've been getting a couple phone calls. The computer glitch was just something that happened this morning.
All right, good. That's all good news. So how many students overall? Do we have a final count yet?
Yeah, 2,589.
2,589. Jessica Bock from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. What's the number attached to that? How much money is all of that going to cost?
Well, it's millions and millions of dollars. This is something that people have speculated could bankrupt the Normandy district or, send them with no money sometime in the spring. So there's still just so many unknowns with this. The big unknown for school districts was the number of students, how many kids are going to want to come. But now, there's many, many challenges ahead, one of them being financial for Normandy and Riverview.
In your story this morning, along with Elisa Crouch, you said that it looks like the amount of students that want to go to the Francis Howell school districts, there will be enough space for those kids who all want to go to the Francis Howell School District. There will be space for them to go.
Yep, that's what we're hearing. Today, Francis Howell people will go out and pick up their student information and immediately begin calling those kids, trying to place them within their district, at schools within their district. And then this weekend, they've asked them to come out for, an enrollment type process in their district. So it's going to happen really quick. School starts on Thursday for them.
Sure. And then also from your story this morning, we learned that Kirkwood and Melville have increased their spots, correct?
That's right.
Did they find extra textbooks or extra chairs in the back room? How did they all of a sudden come up with more space? Do we know?
Well, in Kirkwood's situation, they said that, we think maybe we have 100. But they just learned of their role in this story really on Tuesday. So they took a harder look at the numbers and came up with 175. Melville, that's been kind of controversial, and Eric Knost is saying now that 150 was a starting point, and we've always wanted to do our best to help these kids. Now we've come up with 218.
So that's the latest from Jessica Bock with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. The final numbers, 2,589, and this computer glitch, you're saying, don't worry, it's just going to push it back a couple hours.
I think we'll just be waiting a little bit longer, but, they've got it handled.
You got it. Jessica, let me say this publicly to you and Elisa. We had her on the show earlier this week. You guys have done an outstanding job on this, keeping the entire region informed, and all the other media outlets are working off of your work. So thank you, and congratulations for all the hard work.
Well, thanks. It's been a really fascinating story to cover.
Jessica Bock, next time Skype in with us, right?
Okay.
All right, good. Jessica Bock from STLtoday.com, also the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Some breaking news this morning, 2,589. All those parents that were turned away, it looks like they will be able to accommodate them as well. And that picture on the front page of the newspaper is just heart-wrenching, with this mother and her daughters trying to get in and the other woman in the front of the door saying, sorry, you can't get in. So it's nice to see all of that. Then with this computer glitch, not going to be much of a problem, but 2,589 students voluntarily deciding to leave the unaccredited school districts to go to other school districts. 7:57 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Next hour, we check in with David Blaustein and Deb Peterson from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch editorial board. And then we got to talk a little medical marijuana in the 9 o'clock hour with local attorney and all-around gadfly, Scott